All right. Boom chakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. My name is Rudy Wilson. I'm here with Janessa, Rowland, Terry Wayne.
Hey.
Kellie Lee is on the way, so she says. We'll see what happens. Her AC went out and she was burning up, and so she's trying to handle that. So we'll see what's going on with her. But this is the Worst Ones podcast. We are PKs, making our parents proud. Terry, let's start with you. You're joining us with all audio today for anybody watching on YouTube. But how are you, sir? We haven't seen you. We didn't see you last week. How have you been in the
That's
last
right.
couple weeks?
Yeah. No, I've been doing well. Just pretty crazy busy, and then I'm kid sitting this week at my sister's place out west.
Out west where?
Just right on the edge of Loxahatchee, which is
you're still in Florida.
yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah. No, just more out west than me, and the internet's a little cell signal's a little sketchy, and thunderstorms today, so the power keeps going in and out. That's the reason for the no video.
Gotcha. How were you doing last week?
How was I doing last week?
Yeah, was you okay?
Yeah, no. I just had some personal business that came up that I had to handle.
Gotcha. All right. Did you handle it?
I did. I handled it well. And,
That's what's up, man.
And I don't want to talk about it.
No, we don't. We don't have to talk about it. As long as you handle it, that's all good. It's all good.
I did handle it.
All right. Janessa, Rowland, how art thou?
Thou art pretty good. This weekend sucked though.
Why did this weekend suck?
Because this was the first Labor Day that my family didn't do any type of like cookout or anything. And even like in the thick of the pandemic, my uncle will always like cook meat, and then everybody else just get their own size. And then we would do like a little Zoom thing. It would still be a quarantine.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard like, as far as like go be adamant about celebrating Labor Day. Like most people kind of do it because it's a day off, but like you sound like this is an annual thing that you and your family was really.
Yes, I didn't have any. Like I didn't even know where to get food from. Like, where do you even get barbecue on Labor Day? I mean, I ended up going to one of my friends, her boyfriend, plug. Dang, I wish I actually knew the name of it. But
Damn.
she has like he has a barbecue, like truck pull up thing concoction.
It's a food truck, or is it his truck? Is it like
it's like a truck, but then like a big grill looking thing on the back.
Oh, so he dragging the grill around on his pickup truck.
There you go. That.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was, cooking. So I got some food from there. And
is that what he does like all the time, or he has a grill and he hooked it up and brought it?
No, I think he's trying to make it into a business, or it is a business at this point. I was trying to look up the name real quick, but from my understanding, they do it every Saturday and Sunday, and it's been going on for the past like couple of months at this point. So I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a little food truck kind of situation.
Yeah, but it hit the spot, and then it's called Smoking Joe's Barbecue. So if you're ever in the Atlanta area, check out Smoking Joe's Barbecue. He is on Instagram and Facebook.
I feel like that should have been taken by now. Like, how's that name still available?
I don't know. Yeah, Smoking IN though, not ING. Joe's Barbecue, and barbecue spelled out.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
How about you, Rudy?
Nothing special. I'm finally back in Jacksonville after I left the 7th of last month, and I guess I came back around like the 4th or 5th of this month. So It's going a while, but I'm back. You know, uh, that's about it. Driving Uber, back in these Uber streets.
Any
Uh,
shows coming up?
yes, but they're back in Miami though, or West Palm Beach actually.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there's that. Uh, but yeah, no, life's normal. You know what I'm saying? It's raining and shit, but we got you. Um, but we do have a special guest that I want us to go ahead and get. This is what maybe third guest, fourth guest. We don't have many guests.
Do our siblings count?
Nah,
No, they don't count for anything.
fuck
So
them. Yeah.
I think he's our third,
So yeah,
fourth guest.
third or
We
fourth.
had Marcy, Alexis, Demetrius, and now Darius.
Oh yeah, but Alexis was kind of on the spot.
Impromptu.
So yeah, he's our third invited guest. Either way, Janessa, please do the honors of introducing our guest.
Sure, I'm really gonna mess this up probably. But anyway, today we have a good friend of mine. His name is Darius Westmoreland. I've probably known him for about 7 or 8 years at this point. But that's here nor there. So a little bit about him. He is a media director for Victory Church Atlanta. He also does freelancing in the film industry. He's worked on shows such as The Walking Dead, Titan Games, Love and Hip Hop, Young Rock, and Sunday's Best. He is the super proud dad to daughter Zoe Simone, and he has been a PK for the last 10 years. His father is the pastor of Restoration Christian Ministries. Let's welcome our guests, all warm and I don't even know. We don't even have any way to welcome our guests. Just welcome Darius, y'all.
Welcome, Darius.
Welcome, Darius Westmoreland. How are you, sir?
Can you
I'm
insert
good.
an applause, Rudy? No.
I'll try.
Okay.
I thought so.
Not necessary. I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I'm good.
Yeah, welcome to the worst ones, man. We're definitely glad to have you. We heard a little bit about you from Janessa, but obviously, this is me and Terry's first time meeting you, and your first time meeting us. So,
Yeah.
please tell us about yourself. You can start with just who you are in general, and then kind of transition. I know you kind of mentioned how long you've been a PK, but just you can even just kind of talk about that and just how that whole experience was, like just being preacher's kid.
All right, cool. So, as you stated, and as it says, I'm Darius, and yeah, I have a daughter, Zoe Simone. She is 1. Janessa has seen her playing, so she already knows I'm wrapped around that finger 100%. I always say this. I'm going off subject, but I don't know if you have girls, but having a girl is just a different, it's a different thing. Like I feel like there are certain ways I would be if I had a son, but having that daughter, it's just like, boy, when you get them eyes and stuff like that, it's just like,
yeah. She can get away with murder.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I have to I'll be having to beat my chest and make sure I'll be like, all right, get yourself together, Dad. Get it together. But
I
yeah,
got
she's smart, so she know. But yeah, so being a dad to my daughter, like Janessa said, I currently I work for Victory Church ATL. They hired me as their media director, being that my background is in film and media. So and like she said, I worked. I've been in the film.
Stop you for 1 second. Is Victory Church ATL, is that different than Victory? I think it was maybe in Baptist Church or something. It was like a big church that was like purple and white or something like that.
Yeah, it's a different one. It's not the big one. It's not the big one. They do run around 1,000 roughly, but they're not as big as the other Victory Church. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, fam. So I work as their media director, and then I also still freelance in the film industry as well. I was doing full time in the film industry, but when COVID hit, that really just slammed the industry.
For sure.
So I mean, that shut everything down. So and now they're having to spend so much money on COVID protocols. It's like literally everybody's fighting to get a job on set stuff now. So I was like, yeah, let me do something else just to make sure that money keep rolling in. So.
For sure.
But yeah, I still get contracted out here and there. But before that, like she said, I was very consistent with that. So yeah. And what was the second question about being a PK?
Yeah, being a PK.
Yeah. So my situation is weird. I wasn't grew up from a small child as a PK. Like I literally, my dad, he started his church. I was like 20, 19 or 20 or something like that when the
How
church
old are you now?
30. So
Okay,
yeah, for 10 years. So I did that math quickly in my
gotcha.
head. Not my strongest subject, but yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was different. So by the time it was like, most PKs from what I know, they grow up under like the pressure and under the all that kind of stuff like that. And then, it's just like they're really just more of like the addition or the I don't know the word I'm looking for, but for me, I came in literally as like a worker. So it wasn't like I wasn't viewed as like the pastor's son
Mm,
from a child standpoint, or I wasn't viewed, oh, look at little Darius around. Like, no, like I came in
mm.
like in a position of authority because by the
Right,
time
right,
he started, like I'm grown.
right, for sure.
And, I do music and stuff as well. So, I'm running his music department. I'm doing a lot of different things. And having to quote unquote, command authority somewhat.
Right,
So
right.
it's just kind of like my experience was a little different and even different in the sense of having to work that close with my dad because I worked very close with him. So, I mean, it was cool. It has its PK challenges because it's just
Right.
like at the end of the day, even though you are grown, you still a PK. So you still, but for me, I was the type to where people, because honestly, I hate titles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just to be real, like I hate
Mm-hmm.
titles. Like
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like in church and all that kind of stuff like that,
For
I
sure.
respect them, but
For
I
sure.
don't really care for
For sure.
them. And so people would try to, oh, well, you the pastor. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, don't cater to me like that, bro. Like cater to me like I'm regular.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right. Right.
and so, yeah, that was difficult. And then I think the other hard part of it was too because of how close I am with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Just really wanting to see what they were trying to do come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was tough finding that balance between pursuing my own stuff and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that I'm pushing myself as hard as I can push myself and pushing their vision and pushing their stuff as well. So I think that probably was my biggest challenge because I know I turned down some things to make sure home was taken care of.
Gotcha.
So, but then by the same token, it's weird because a lot of what I was pushed into, I developed in that role. Like, for example, my film career,
Mm-hmm.
like that was developed, in their ministry. Like, I wasn't
For
doing
sure.
anything like that before they started the church, but
For sure.
like my dad has these big ideas. Janessa knows about that. My
Oh
dad
yeah.
has these big ideas, and my creativity matches his ideas. And so I'm the
For
one
sure.
that's filming the stuff that he's trying to do. I'm the
For
one
sure.
putting together the theatrical productions. I'm the
For
one
sure.
putting together all this stuff. And so that literally developed into it was really like a training ground for me to where it developed my skills to the point to where I was able to be seen and
Mm-hmm.
got picked up and working in film for real.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You what? You in church your whole life, and were your dad or parents were they working in ministry even prior to being pastors? So that's a two-part
Yes.
question.
Yes. So I have pretty much been in church my whole life.
Gotcha.
And I will say this, even though I wasn't a PK, I feel like I was getting like secondhand PK
Gotcha.
because my parents were always very close to the pastor.
Gotcha.
They were very close to the pastor and they worked very hard, in whatever ministry they were in. So
For sure.
subsequently, I would be, kind of up there with the VIP per se, because it's just
Gotcha.
like
Gotcha.
just as a result. So yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, but you were saying when your parents were close with the pastor, they weren't ministers or anything at that
Yeah,
time, or
yeah, they were. They were
oh, they
ministers,
were.
they were
Okay, gotcha.
ministers in the church, ministers or elders or whatever the case may be. But they just always worked because they have like a very hard work
For
ethic.
sure.
Like the pastor was pulling them a lot,
For sure.
and so subsequently, I would find myself like I know in that ministry because we were in that ministry almost 20 years, and I know I was a drummer for a lot of those years in that
Oh wow.
ministry. But then I also was like on the praise thing. I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So you were definitely a PK, I guess, as far as a preacher's kid your whole life, but in reference to the whole pastor kid, and then having to just say step into that role, which for you turned into just say kind of running, a lot of the media when it comes down to what your dad wanted to do. Um, that was pretty much the only transition. But in reference to just say having that pastor kid kind of outlook on you. You kind of carried that your whole life.
Yeah, but it wasn't as strong. It wasn't really like strong like it was because I know I'm really close friends with the PK of that church that we were at, and like the pressure that her and her sister that they faced versus the pressure that I faced, like it was totally different. Like
Gotcha.
so, I can say that I was in there with the whole VIP type status. Everybody knew who I was because of my closeness with them, and it was a pretty large size ministry. But the pressure that came along with that of you being watched or whatever the case might be, I didn't really have that as much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Jesse, if you got a question, go ahead. Because if not, I do got more, but I don't want.
Look, y'all go ahead. I know Darius, and I'm trying to filter like what's a good question to ask because I know these things. But
Right.
like y'all, our audience, all 500 million viewers of our audience.
Right. No, I got you. So I do it. So I do have. So the title for you that you have, or that you had rather at your dad's church when he started it. You were what? Like you were over the media?
So it fluctuated.
Okay.
Because I can, and I promise you, I don't say this boastfully, but because I do so many things,
For sure.
I was really like a plug whatever hole needs to be filled.
Gotcha.
So when we started, they didn't have anybody to do like arts and stuff like that. So I dance, I choreograph, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So I was over that.
Gotcha.
Then we got to a certain point to where the music was just kind of sitting, but I do music as well. So then I became the MD. So then, the youth, they needed somebody, and this is the part where I kind of got, because I hate titles. The youth needed somebody to kind of watch over them, pastor, whatever the case may be.
For sure.
So I did that. And I mean, I was the type where I was like, can we just bypass the title and let me just do the work? Because I love the youth, I love kids. So I was like, let me just do the work, bypass the title. And then that changed, and then the media took a whole nother thing. So I had to jump into that. So it was really just different stuff.
Gotcha.
Throughout.
And when your dad started this ministry, were you, and this is kind of a term I know they use in the military, like did you volunteer for these services, or were you voluntold? Like, you gonna do this because you're my son, or even if it wasn't that reason, but you were just more or less put into the position as opposed to saying this is how I want to contribute per se?
No, it was more of what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Because I was in the ministry that we were in before that. I was, dancing with their teams and stuff like that. And I was, with their teams or whatever the case may be. And I was kind of like in the back per se.
Okay.
So for me, it was kind of like, but I got all these dope ideas. I got all these dope whatever. So when that happened, for me, it was just like, yo, this is my chance to take all of that stuff and just let it go. You know what I mean? Just like take all that stuff and just like, do what I need to do. And like I said, see how it worked out. Cause I mean, it literally, all of that stuff led me into my, like, I can give you a crazy example of what I mean. So I do fight choreography as well. Right. And with miming, you're just simulating things that aren't really there and really happening, whatever. And the very first thing that I choreographed that was close to a fight choreography was in a mime. In a song. And so from there, that's literally and then once I did it, I was like, yo, I think I want to get into fight choreography. Now I'm doing a whole fight film. Like I'm currently shooting an MMA film now. So it's just like,
right.
Yeah, it started all with that.
You literally discovered almost kind of like your purpose when they started the ministry.
Essentially.
Gotcha. And I heard you say that earlier. I see what you mean even more. So nothing, not even just getting into media, but even all the things that you started doing once you even knew media as a whole was going to be a thing. Even just say the individual things within there were all new too. None of those things you ever knew how to do. As far as like
music, I was always doing.
Okay.
Because my parents were very musical people and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up around music, instruments.
And that's singing and playing?
Yeah, but I don't play keys. I can play keys enough to make my own tracks and stuff, but I don't like, you can't sit me at a keyboard in church and be like, play. I'd be like,
take off. Right. Hold it down. Right.
I can hold a nice little sustain for you, but that's not it. But but drums I play fluently.
Gotcha.
And I'm about to learn guitar.
Gotcha.
So you just want everyone to hate you then, because it seems like you're good at everything.
No, I'm not. Not everything, Terry. Not everything.
That's real interesting. So I guess kind of another two-part question. What's the connection with you and Janessa? I guess like where did y'all's interaction, I guess, cross when it come down to like churches or whatever? And then even with I guess all with what you did at your what you did at your dad's church and maybe even what you're doing at Victory ATL, what all of that did you do at at another church, like in service or whatever, prior to your dad's church? So I know you said like the media stuff you didn't pick up to then, but did you play drums like in the church before? Did you sing in the church before? Did you mime? Did you do all that stuff like even as a kid growing up in these other churches? And then also, how did you meet Janessa?
All right, which one of those you want me to hit first?
It doesn't matter.
Don't matter. Yeah. All right. Well, before I go to Janessa, I'll answer that other question. So yeah, so my dad had a touring group in the '90s, the Westmoreland Chorale, and they toured a lot. And so, like I said, I've been on stages and been on all that kind of stuff since I was a kid. So my dad was that type where he was just like, "Come on, son, you sound like you can sing. You can sing pretty good here, out front."
Right.
So I was doing that, and then even at the ministry that we were at, like I said, I was miming with them. I was a drummer for a long time there. So yeah, I was doing that kind of stuff before, like the more performance stuff. I was doing a lot of that before, the singing, the dancing.
Gotcha.
That type of stuff. It was more so like the filming, the media, all that kind of stuff. Theatrical production, stage productions. My parents always did stage productions before, but I just kind of took the reins on that when they transitioned.
But they did stage productions for like musical concerts or for like acting or theatrical stuff as well.
Acting. So they did what they would do. They toured and did concerts, but they also toured and did like theatrical stage productions as well.
Gotcha.
So, and then how I met Janessa. My dad, he was the minister of music at her dad's church.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny too. Me and Janessa, we are the classic example of if you can make it through like a situation, like your relationship is going to become so much closer, because we weren't like big on each other at first at all.
No.
Wow.
Like we had like this huge blowout and like didn't speak for like years or something.
Years.
Like that. Wow. And then now it's just like that's the whole homie. Like she knows stuff that people in my family don't even know. So it's just kind of like.
Can we talk about whatever y'all fell out about?
No.
Honestly, I don't even know what it is at this point. I just know it was big enough for me not to talk to him for years.
Oh no! Oh wait! Oh, what we fell out about?
Right, yes. Fell out. Yeah.
Oh, what we fell out about? I thought you was talking about. I mean, I heard it.
Not what she knows about you. No.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, they go deep in this show, like that.
No, not that. Just the fallout.
No, we like drama.
Right, y'all want ratings? Okay. Yeah, for the ratings. All right, but no, actually, Janessa, I remember what it was. And the thing about it, yeah, I do. Because the thing about it wasn't even like something that was super big, but it was just like that build-up type thing. Because it was the whole thing with my dad versus the certain people in the choir and all that type of stuff. So me naturally, like I'm a rider, so I'm like, yo, if you against my dad, you against me. For sure. And so I already had like that guard up or whatever. So I remember it was a rehearsal night and it was extremely frustrating. It was like messed up. And like they was coming at my dad about something. It wasn't you. It was like Carmen and somebody. Like it was coming at my dad about who I ain't supposed to name drop him.
Keep that out.
Hey. And then so they was coming at my dad about something. And I mean, they were screwing this part up over and over. And I'm sitting here like, bro, I heard this an hour ago. Right. And so we got out. So the rehearsal was just a bust. So we got outside and like Janessa pulled up by my dad. And like you was just like going in out the window. And then I was just like, bro, that wasn't even him. Like that was y'all getting the part wrong for like an hour or whatever. And she was like, well, if you knew, why you ain't say something? I'm like, because I'm the drummer. That ain't my job. I ain't supposed to do it. And we just had like this. Yeah, this is exactly what it was about. And like we had this whole
it's church beef.
We had this whole blowout right there in the parking lot, and she yelling out the window of her car. I'm yelling, and then finally you just the tire screech, and she just pulls off. And it was just kind of like, yeah, we ain't talking about after that.
and during the years of y'all not talking, y'all was still at the church, like
Some
same
of that,
church.
some of that time, yeah. Matter of fact, I think it was pretty much just about all of that time.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think it was pretty much because see, the thing was, only reason I came over every now and then because at first, when the drummer was like out or something like that, I would just come and fill in. And then for a period, like I think I was like the drummer for a while, but then like it was decided that because my dad was the minister of music, I couldn't work under him, so I got fired. So, you don't remember that?
Faintly.
Yeah.
I do remember going off in the car. I just don't remember for what.
Yeah, it was that. I don't
that's
remember the
not
like
it.
details of that rehearsal, but I just remember that whole thing was a bust, and everybody was frustrated, everybody was pissed, and it spilled over into the parking lot. And like you pulled up, like did a whole drive-by situation, like you was finna let loose out the window, like you pulled up.
That's wild.
So yeah, and we were literally there. Like I would be there off and on, but my dad was literally there until I think by the time he left, me and Janessa had probably smoothed it over by that point.
Yeah, I know we've been good for at least 2 years.
It's been longer than that.
Maybe
It's been since at least 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was still at my old job at Georgia State when we actually had the conversation where we were like, cool, we good, we cool, whatever. So yeah.
And for our 500 million viewers, me and Elder Charles, our Pastor Charles, we're good too. Okay, we had a conversation.
They are very good. Yes, absolutely.
I don't want y'all to think I'm a holy thug in these streets. Okay.
I mean, you low key are, Janessa. I mean, you technically blacked out. Like you went off on somebody and don't even remember why. Like that's that's pretty pretty intense.
For the Lord, though, y'all.
Like that's some church. Like if y'all was on a reality show, like that would have been the highest.
Oh, listen,
episode. That one would have went in.
That would have been
Whatever.
Oh man.
That's I had a question for you, Darius.
What's up?
Since y'all want to talk to all this other stuff. So because you kind of came into the PK life like later. And I don't think Rudy and Terry know, and neither do our 500 million viewers know. But you also have, I don't say experience. I don't know. I can't think of a better term, but in ministry work as well. Would you take over your dad's church? Have you ever? You can say what you feel comfortable saying, but like, have y'all ever had that conversation? Would you take over your dad's church if he asked you to, or what are your thoughts on that? Your dad's legacy in you and where you fit in.
Of course, there's always the Simba. One day this will all be yours. Type thing that just comes with that. Sorry, Disney reference. I have a daughter. Can't help it. But yeah, there's always.
And somehow we always end up in the dark, shadowy place.
We always end up in
Are you not pick out a song? Where's the hyenas, y'all? Where are the hyenas?
Right. I'm like, yo, y'all went with me on this.
Absolutely, we are those people.
Yeah, you're in good company here.
Say what, Terry?
You're in good company here.
Look, I can tell. I can definitely tell. Look, I'm coming back. When can I come back? Like, yo, this is fine. Anyway. But yeah, so it's always there. But I think my dad has more so been on find your own path, and wherever that path leads you, that's where it will be. If it's here, you already know, like the throne is yours if you want it. But if it's not your path, then it'll be what it'll be. Matter of fact, even when it came to that's crazy because when I got the job at Victory. One of the first questions that the pastor asked me was, how does your father feel about you working here?
For sure.
And I was like, I mean, he good. Like, he pushed this. Like, he knows, like, I've pretty much maxed there. And so, he's like, go find what you need. Find your next step. Find what you need. So my dad isn't that type where it's just like, I'm expecting you, like, you're locked into this. Like,
right. For sure.
Not being like that. And so it's kind of like jury's still out. I don't really foresee me being like the pastor type, but I don't think anybody really, really knows. what turn their life is really going to make and how they evolve. So,
For sure.
you know, who knows?
For sure.
Nah, my dad didn't even ask. He knew I wasn't.
Oh, Terry.
Gotcha. So with you now, okay, so let me even backtrack, and you may have already answered this, but really quickly, when you, I guess, so to speak, left your dad's church to go to Victory, or did you leave to go to Victory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you left, did you leave and like seek out Victory, or Victory sought out you, and then you had the conversation with your dad, or like how did that connect to
Well,
you?
I haven't been at Victory very long because all of this is pretty fresh because of the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I was working in film and, you know, being at my dad's church when I could, you know, when I
Okay,
wasn't
gotcha,
on set or
gotcha.
whatever the case may be. So when the pandemic hit, I was doing all media for the church because, you know, at that point, it forced everybody to go virtual. So, you know, that's when my skills were needed pretty much at home because, you know, the film industry shut down. So I was literally just running everything there. But then as everything started opening back up and I saw like the film industry it's opening up, but it ain't like lucrative enough because everybody's trying to eat. So in the department I work for EPK. And what that is, so we're responsible for every actor interview you ever see, every behind the scenes shot you ever see, how it's done, all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, perfect example. If you watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the 30-year reunion thing
on HBO Max or whatever it was, right?
that's our whole job. The only reason that was able to happen was because they had EPK following them around doing all that stuff.
For sure.
So we're one of the first when budgets are being like when they're doing budgets and stuff like that. We're one of the first like people that they will downsize their crew and they will downsize y'all can technically do this with one cameraman, one sound person, and one lighting person. Whereas normally we would have more, so
Gotcha.
it's tougher to get in. And so once that happened, it was just like, yeah, I got to find me something else. So I actually just started seeking out other ventures or whatever, and Victory chose me. So that's how I ended up there.
Gotcha. And so, I guess in this new venture, even with Victory, are you still in that same rut in reference to trying to figure out, just say, how to do your own thing and help, just say, their agenda at the same time?
Yes, but only because they are in the middle of like a transition, and I'm not gonna say too much on it because they haven't released it yet. But they're in the middle of a transition, and so in that transition, I have a very key role. So I have to be very locked into what they're doing. But I can see once everything kind of settles, I'll be able to have a little bit more freedom because I actually I run a basketball league as well. We have it's actually one of the biggest in the South Atlanta. It's taken off. And
What kind of basketball league is it? Like in the church league or?
no, it started out as a church league.
Okay.
But then you start getting pros and semi-pros and overseas players and all that kind of stuff in the league. Now people turning their heads like, yo, I'm gonna come play the card. And then we do a lot. We do a lot of aesthetics. Like we mock the NBA in a lot of ways. So we do like a whole ESPN First Take show about our league, stats, top tens, all that kind of stuff. So people are like, yo, y'all league is dope. We want to come rock with y'all. And so it's turning into like a pretty big thing. So now we literally had to leave the whole, this is no longer a church league. We got our LLC and all this kind of stuff like that. So it's full blown business now.
There's auditions.
Yeah, we have. You got to try out. You got to get drafted into the league. Like it's a whole. There's a whole situation.
I'm trying to.
A contract?
No, like the playoffs and the championship.
Oh yeah, we have all of it. All of it. Preseason, not
All Star.
Yeah, All Star weekend, playoffs, championship, all that.
Real quick, Janessa, you couldn't think of the word playoff. That was the word that was kicking your ass this whole time.
Wow, like I'm over here trying to help you. I'm
like,
playoff. Got you. That was the word.
I couldn't think of it.
Wow.
So you run the league and the media side as well, or like how's that? How
the
do you
media side of the league?
Yeah, like when you do like the First Take and all that, the broadcast.
Oh yeah, I do all that. Yeah, I do all that. So
as well as run the league stuff, that whatever. Like,
I have a business partner and we run it together. But it's kind of like mixing my film background in with basketball, and it just it kind of works as a draw because people are like, "Yo, this is dope." Like other leagues don't do this. So
for sure.
So look at that. He's good at something else too.
I was waiting on that too because I was like, dang, I ain't even mentioned this. And I was like, I feel like there's something.
What else can he do? Right?
That's right.
I promise you, I was waiting on that. I was literally glancing down at the bottom left corner, and that's how it looks on mine. And I was like, I feel like
that's hilarious.
Well, are you going to ever expand the league to have a women's league?
Yeah, we actually our goal is doing there's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be men's league, A and B. So B is more so like, for the community guys, the guys that aren't that great but they still want to play basketball. A league is, it's a real thing. A is the pros, semi-pros, basically like a pro-am. And then women's league, kids league, teen league. So we're slowly going to be expanding.
Can I end up audition? Can I try out?
No.
Rudy.
They need, unless they're gonna get the what's the Ice Cube League? The
Big Three, half court
version.
That's what I can bring you, maybe a coach or a staff.
Oh shit!
I got skills.
It's not about the jump shot. It's just about
My man's trying to make you the equipment manager.
I can throw it up, and somebody else can.
You could be the person on the side that do the clean the sweat.
Wipe the sweat up.
He's gonna give me that later.
He's gonna give you a mop and be like, just clean up this water every once in a while.
Yeah, just when somebody falls on the floor, just
you feel me? Make sure it's dry. That's important.
I know you're gonna get me. You're gonna get me for this.
Just became friends again.
She's sitting there thinking like, now I'm starting to remember why I didn't talk to this man.
Right. I'm bringing it up. I'm digging up the past.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Another car window to yell out of. We talked about the basketball league. So when it comes down to, I guess, just say filmmaking goals or media goals, when it comes down to church and when it comes down to just say your individual career outside of church, do you have, I guess, separate goals for them? And if so, like what's like, I mean, like as far as the ultimate goal, like where do you want it to be ultimately, like in the church lane as well as?
So ultimately, like I said, being able to figure out one of my purposes, like I'm a very, like Janessa said, she knows she got me with the word non-traditional because I'm not a, hi Kellie. Hi. I'm not a very traditional person, let's say. And as far as like traditionally, spreading God's word, quote unquote, I'm not real big on traditional ways of doing that. One of my ultimate goals is to have my own production company that more so produces films about concepts that are more practical rather than just like, Christian films. This is going to sound bad, but I'm really not big on them because I feel like they
sound bad.
Yeah, it's because I'm like, I shouldn't say stuff like that because I could end up having to work with one of them one day, and I'm like, yeah, we saw your podcast and heard like I shouldn't say stuff like that. But I'm not big on them because I feel like they're not practical, and I feel like they're a little cookie cutter, and I feel like situations just aren't really like that. Like for example, the MMA film that I'm working on now, it has a Christian undertone per se. But like you wouldn't know it unless I literally just told that to you just now. Gotcha. Because like this fighter, like this dude, he was a whole drunk, like he was a whole like whatever the case may be because he lost. And when he lost, sponsors pulled out, everything happened, and he had to like it's called Battlefield of the Mind, and it's just basically a parallel of good and evil. Like we have choices like every day whether or not we gonna go off. Or whether or not we're gonna just chill. Like it's literally like it starts here, and like so that's what the whole premise of the movie. It just depicts that. And I mean, this dude gets in trouble. He gets like, situations with his girl, all that kind of stuff like that. But the movie shows him like dealing with that stuff, going to counseling. Like you don't see stuff, going to counseling, like having to, getting beat down, like losing sometimes. Like it's just more practical. And I want to produce films like that so somebody can look at that and say, yo, like that's actually how you do that. Not
For
just,
sure.
oh, God's going to do this and, talk to the Lord Jesus and light shines and everything's great. Like, it's like,
For sure.
like, this is ugly. Like, this gets bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
that to have a production company that will produce things in that way that people can walk away from it and say, yo, I took something from that. Like, that's my ultimate goal in that vein. And then, of course, having the league. And then I'm actually about to start another business venture with my dad. So that's going to be in theater. So, yeah, doing a lot of stuff currently.
So can I be an actress in that one?
We'll talk about it. I'll call you.
Okay.
We talked about one of our previous topics was about Christian style movies. Yeah, like Facing the Giants and Fireproof and stuff like that.
Look at his face.
They make such big money and they're so terrible. Like, as far as movie quality goes, it's garbage. I mean, especially Fireproof. I have a personal vendetta against that movie.
Really? I want to hear it. What is it?
Well, I was married and at the time, and my uncle, he's very evangelical Christian, Southern Christian dude. And he kept hitting me with it. He's like, you guys got to sit down and watch this movie together. He's like, it'll change your marriage. It'll change your marriage. It did make our marriage strong. I mean, our marriage was fine anyway, but it did make it stronger in our mutual hatred for this movie and Kirk Cameron's performance, which was horrifically bad.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Terry.
I mean, I used to watch Growing Pains growing up, and I started to hate Growing Pains just residually out of my hatred for this movie.
Yeah, I get it.
So let me ask you this, Darius. When it comes down to your films, would you ever do just say a hardcore Christian themed film, even if you make it practical? And the reason why I'm asking that because I do get the point of the MMA movie in the sense of we can just say display Christian principles without ever even mentioning just say church or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And somebody can just grasp this story and still even at the least become a better person, even if not give their life to Christ or whatever. But would you ever just say do a practical but definitely because like with Facing the Giants and stuff or whatever, those are like they're purposely saying like, yo, Jesus is the way, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like this is it. Like to your point, like call his name, you can make a field goal from 85 yards away. You know what I'm saying? Like that is that's what they're saying. So I'm not saying that you would do that, but would you have it that churchy, if you will, for lack of a better term, but still make it practical, or would you only kind of do the more themed, principles, kind of how the MMA movie is?
Well, I would say yes. I won't say that I would never do that. However, what I will say is, like, even because first of all, it's kind of weird. I did a theatrical production, and then the follow up from the production was a movie. So like the first one was a play, and then part 2 was like a movie. Yeah, I screwed that up. Don't know how I did that. But the play in itself had more of a God versus the devil tone per se, because the play, it was about, it was a literal. I took battlefield literally, so it was like armies, guns, all that kind of stuff. And so, one general was General Adonai, which is another name for God, naturally, and then General Biels, which is another name for the devil. And like there was this character whose name was Paul in the middle of that. And they both was just like doing stuff, trying to, draw him to their side because he was like the one that was going to like tip the balance of the war and all that kind of stuff. So Paul is going back and forth as to like what he should do and whatever the case may be. So that one was a little bit more like, okay, this is a Christian play. However, my delivery Like it wasn't like what you would see in a Christian play. Like no, my fight scenes, like because I do that, like they had to be legit. Like and then it's funny. I go back and watch some of them. Like that was a miss. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to that. So I would do it, but it still has to hold up that standard. You know what I mean? Like it can get that Christ is the way message, but it still has to hold up that standard of
right.
Like yo, I would go to the movies and watch this, and like if Marvel wouldn't put it out, I don't want to put it out. You know what I mean? So like it's got to have the same standard.
Gotcha.
And I'm coming in.
I just hate that they always have that moment where
He
it's
coming
some
with his
teen.
with food in his mouth.
It's
Where is there?
some
In the middle of a storm, girl.
Oh, okay.
It's thunder.
No. Yeah, that's what it was. It was thunder. No, I'm watching my nephews this week. No, I hate that they all have that moment in the movie where it's like either a teenager or like a best friend or something, and he's like, "Oh, what's the problem, buddy? Oh, he's got a big problem in my life. Well, have you talked to Jesus about?" You know what I mean? Like it's so over the top and in your face. You mentioned Marvel. It's like when Marvel tries to do like a female-led movie. It's like, all right, take it easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's fine to do a female-led movie.
Yeah,
No, it's fine to do a female-led
Kelly's
movie,
face
but
was
when
like
you
through the
push
whole
it,
story, like whoa.
when you push it so far, it becomes patronizing. You know what I mean? It's like, look, girls, we included you too. Yeah, I mean, come on, man, just be real.
All right, so my take on that, real quick. So, because I actually enjoy Black Widow is the most recently.
That was a good one. They didn't do that. But in that one, Black Widow was a great movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I know the moment you're talking about though, because in Endgame,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
When they were like,
that's right.
When they were like, "How are you gonna get through that?" She was like, "Oh, she's got help," and they had like this whole women assemble moment.
Yeah, they had a one shot where they had all the female characters, even though it made no sense in the movie whatsoever. It broke the continuity completely.
Yeah, that's where my issue came in. It's not necessarily that they were trying to create a women moment per se, but let it. If you're gonna do that from a filmmaking standpoint, like for me, let it be what it was supposed to be. It was like they did this whole walk to the camera and then didn't do anything, and it was kind of like. So what was the point of that? To literally be like
to make a poster out of it.
You know what I mean? It was like, no, if you're gonna give them their moment, like give them their moment. Like to be honest with you, Shang-Chi, I don't know if y'all seen that yet, but they did it perfectly.
I haven't.
Who?
That new movie, Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah.
That Marvel released. Like they did it perfectly throughout the whole movie, the way they depicted women. And I'm sorry, y'all, film is my passion, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, it's yeah. I don't even know where we were at. Where were we?
No. Kellie, I know you had a question, right?
Well, no, I was just going to say, back to what you were saying when I first got on about the relatability and practicality of your films, that I appreciated that, because when we had that conversation a few weeks ago about those Christian-based movies, I've never heard of Fireproof. I've never heard of whatever the other one was.
Facing the Giants.
Never heard of it. And then I was gonna go back and watch it, but they were trying to charge me $3.99 and I wasn't gonna do it. So not my thing. But in one of the reasons why it's not my thing is kind of what we're talking about, is just that only, go to Jesus and then everything will be okay. So I appreciate the hey, you got to go to therapy. Hey, you had to do some, additional work, though, because we talked about mental health and all that on this podcast too. And there's other pieces that we have to do in addition to talking. Of course, we got to go to the Lord 100%. But then there's some on earth things, resources that the Lord has put in place for us, that I think people need to see. And so I appreciate when you said kind of, it's the undertones of Christianity, but it's really that personal work that needs to be done, in showing that, and showing people that's okay, to go to therapy, to seek help, to not hold it in. I know that's a stigma in different communities, that I can't go, mental health it doesn't apply to me, or I don't need therapy, or those type of things. So I just wanted to say I appreciate that, because I've learned that those Christian movies, I haven't seen Passion of the Christ. I haven't seen any of them.
Well, Passion of the Christ was different. That was a big budget movie. That was
That was
actually
Mel Gibson.
decent.
That was done.
Yeah. That's the anti-Semitic one.
So yeah, but that's all I wanted to say is that I appreciate that their kind of real life approach.
Gotcha.
That was all.
Okay. Well, I have two questions for you, Darius, before we let you go. And they come from past episodes. Because I figure we might as well get your perspective.
Oh no! I know what he's doing.
I feel like this is okay. All right, I'm with. Let's go.
The first one I was going to ask is the one we talked about last week in reference to should PKs be held to a higher standard. We know the stigma. We know that we're considered the worst ones. That's why we named this podcast. That we know that people feel like because you are a PK, maybe you should be held to a higher standard, whatever. But coming from a PK's perspective, do you feel like because just say the calling on your mother or father, whoever it will be in that position, but if they are if God called them to be a pastor, does that then place just say a higher calling on your life than just say your peers, or is their calling just them and you're just literally just your own separate entity? And there's no right or wrong answer. It's all
no. I'm being careful. I'm being very careful with my words because my initial words weren't nice about church people. But I will say this: God should control your standard, not people. So I literally, and I say this from personal experience because I literally got to a place to where it was just like, you know what? Actually, I don't care what none of y'all people think. Because, what y'all feel like my standard should be as a PK or none of that. Because at the end of the day, when I close my eyes for the last time, and I won't be standing in front of y'all.
Right.
So what y'all think, what y'all feel,
right,
all that kind of stuff, that's all based on, because you got to think about it. When it comes to church, people, they only understand or they only place those things on PKs or whomever based on their upbringing or based on their understanding of it. So there, you can go to a church and you got 10, 12 different set of standards that people feel like you should be following. This person might feel like a PK shouldn't go to the movies with their boyfriend or girlfriend. This person may feel like a PK should do this or not do that. I'm like, and so it's just like when you start thinking like that, it's like, oh, which one of y'all should I follow? How about none? Because none of y'all really know. None of y'all are not who I answer to.
For sure.
Ultimately, we answer to him, and I think that's one thing that even in like this season of my life now that I think I've learned more than anything that, we have to stop looking for God through people as far as from where our standards should come from, or, this person looks at me that way, or this person, whatever. It's just kind of like, bro, like we don't answer to none of these folks. Like we answer to him. So rather than asking people or looking at people where my standards should come from, I'm just gonna talk to him. And if he ain't giving me, and then I think it also is about surrounding yourself with people that don't think like that as well. Friends. My dad has been a big help to me when it even comes to that. And it's just kind of like, just really realizing like, so no, they shouldn't. To answer your question, no, there shouldn't be that standard. But and the reason I say that is because we don't answer to people. Like people are not our gods or whatever the case.
That's a good attitude that modern Christians should have, because I grew up in a Pentecostal household from like birth to 11, 12, and those people were so judgmental, and it turned me off completely. We couldn't go to the movies, to see anything. I remember we couldn't go see Bambi because it's in the movies, and women couldn't wear pants or makeup or like crazy stuff.
Bambi.
When my parents got married, they got married in a Pentecostal church, and there was no music at the reception because
that sounds about right.
All you got is church music. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're allowed to listen to. So it's crazy. It can get really wild.
Yeah.
All right, last two questions. There's first one.
What I have one question real
Look, y'all,
quick.
he has to go.
He has
No,
to
you
go.
good.
He
Y'all
has-
good.
Okay.
I'll let y'all know. Like y'all good. I promise you, you're good.
Okay.
All right,
right.
never mind then.
Go ahead,
That's
Terry.
fine.
No, go ahead, Terry.
Oh well, we always talked about because Jesus is a biological man. Yes, has to be, right? He has to be a biological man. So it occurred to me one day: does that mean that he gets morning wood? Right? But it's a serious question. You know,
Welcome to the worst ones.
did he ever eat a
We
bad
told him
piece
about
of
this before we
fish?
started recording. So he
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I was, slightly prepped, but I didn't think he was actually going to ask me. So it's funny to me that you actually did.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
He
like
turned
because
on
I'm
the camera
well, yeah, the internet came back on.
I'm sure.
come through internet
right now.
The it just makes me
for this
wonder, like,
question.
Right,
well,
right.
it's not even just that question. I just think
Convenient.
that one's funny, but but say, did he ever eat a bad piece of fish and have a really bad round of diarrhea? You know what I mean? Like, was he bound by a physical, biological man like every other man?
I would say, I would say yes and no, and this is why I would say that. Is he bound by the physical laws of man? Because he's 100% man, 100% God. I feel like for example, right? So the devil tempted him, right, and told him to jump off the cliff or whatever it was. So he would, and then, but so he acknowledged the danger of him jumping off of, the cliff, talking about striking his foot on the stone. Why would he do that if he wasn't gonna get hurt? That's the way I look at it. I'm like, so he acknowledged the danger, but he also acknowledged the 100% God, where you can call the angels before that happens if you want to, so that you don't strike your feet on the stone. So for me, it's just kind of like he acknowledged the man part. Like, yo, you jump off this cliff, you going down, bro. Like, you're not finna fly. Like,
So what you're saying is, if he ate some bad fish or something, he would call the angels to help him?
no, what I'm saying is, it's
Diarrhea?
like, oh, my stomach is bubbly. Yo, let me do something about that. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like, I feel like he probably got it, but he also
Yeah.
possessed the power to fix it. So it's just kind of like,
that's a good
like,
answer.
you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like,
No,
maybe he never eats anything that's bad because he already knows, like, oh, this bad fish. Like, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
So it's like, I feel
he's just
like
always eating the right thing.
yeah, like he has the, like, it can happen, like, but he has the ability to fix it as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, I can take care of that. Like, oh shoot, my stomach's bubbling. Like, yo, let me fix that. All right, cool, I'm good. What's up? You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that. So the morning wood thing, I mean,
he just says no, and
I mean, he might, whoa, no, like,
yeah. He wakes up and he's like, I don't like this. And
you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't know. That's the best I got with that.
Dad, help me out with this. That's weird.
All right. Well, final question. If Jesus were on Earth during our lifetime, and the Players Club came out in theaters, would he buy a ticket to go watch it? Do you think Jesus would watch the Players Club, or do you think that it would be too unholy and he would say, no, I am not watching such a movie?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask it, would Jesus go to the strip club question, but
no.
I guess it's the same thing.
I don't know. This one is tricky because, like, a lot of the work that he did, he had to, like, go to, like, the places that were, like, not. But
that's what I said. I said, of course he'd go to the strip club. He'd be out there ministering.
So I thought about that too, but then I was just like, a part of what I felt. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough because I feel like you, Terry. I feel like, he probably did because he had to go there to, like, minister and stuff like that. Like, how did he ministered to, like, harlots and stuff like that. So how, like, where we see them at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we call it a strip club, but, like, what did they call it back then? That, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I don't know. I gotta sit on the line on this one because it's like. Go ahead.
No, sorry. No, because it's just like you're saying. Like, he hung out with prostitutes back then. These are just strippers, probably prostitutes too.
But we're not even talking about him interacting with anybody physically. I'm talking about him watching a movie. So he doesn't have to go to a strip club to watch a movie. I'm just saying.
So I would probably then for the movie thing, I would probably say no because everything he did was, I guess, with a purpose per se, and like he put himself in those positions to help someone else. So I seriously doubt like he can catch folks outside the movie theater and do a sermon if he wanted to, get the lost, that were in that movie. But I don't feel like he'd be sitting there like with some popcorn, just like, oh, so this is what, like.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't see that one. Like
he didn't take much R&R, is what you're saying. He's just
like not like that anyway. Not like that, because I think that would be more of like a I guess he would equate that to like a pleasure of the flesh type feel.
So then, as a filmmaker, should we not make, as well as even as consumers, should we not consume such content?
Yo, this is gonna sound whatever, but the truth is the truth, especially when we're in the day that we're in now. Sex sells,
right?
Bottom line, and I feel like of course, I feel like there should always be a respect for like certain things or whatever. But I mean, the bottom line is, it is what it is. Like, for example, in the MMA movie, I played the MMA fighter, and I literally had to like put on like mad size or whatever. And the very first thing my dad said, the movie poster, you got to be shirtless. Mm-hmm. Why? Because that's going to draw attention and sex sells, and we're trying to sell tickets. But when we get people there, the message, they're going to leave with the message. They think they're just coming to see a movie. They're using, you're using you as a draw or whatever. It's not disrespectful. It's not distasteful. Right. But sex sells. It does. Right. So I can't even say, like, even as especially from a filmmaker standpoint, like, no, like, this might be too controversial and we not have time to dive into it. But I would look at a Christian film, and if the story needed a sex scene in a Christian film, I would do it. Absolutely. Right. Because it's just like, sex happens. So why in church will we act like it doesn't?
Look, it happens a lot at church, okay?
Oh yeah.
Oh. In churches.
Listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, Kelly.
Yeah, that's just kind of my take on that.
Hey, don't feel bad, Kelly.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Terry.
Don't feel bad, Kelly. I lost my virginity to a girl at church. So.
Oh my gracious!
Wait, in the church?
Oh no, not in the church. But I met her at church, and then we went to her house. So.
Okay.
But don't get me wrong. As a 16-year-old boy, if the opportunity presented itself, I'd like to think I'd do the right thing, but I probably wouldn't.
Oh, Terry.
Do you remember being 16, guys? Huh?
Right. Like, I vaguely remember it. It was
There's a lot of hormones going on. You're not really using your whole brain.
It's hormones going on at 30. Amen. I don't know which one of y'all left. Y'all was at 16, okay? But I'm about to be
not I, brother. Not okay?
I'm about to be 32, okay? It feels the same, if not worse. All right. That's what's up. All right, well then let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Kelly, you came in, as long as you're doing church announcements at the end, it don't matter how late you come, you right on time. You right.
I appreciate it. And I'm sorry, Darius. I did not. I'm sorry. Look, if you saw me fanning, I'm having air conditioning issues.
I knew what the fan was about. It was like, I said, quiet prayer. Lord bless her.
Here, I was having camera issues, so I apologize for my tardiness. But I appreciate you understanding. But when you guys want to find us, Instagram at the worst ones PK. Make sure you direct message us. Make sure you like our pictures. It's some pretty pictures of the host. They're so handsome and beautiful.
3 out of the 4.
I'm about to tell you, where's your picture?
It's there. You didn't see my picture? I posted it. But comment, direct message us. If you want to listen to us, hear us, YouTube. If you want to see us, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast.
I wouldn't.
You said listen on YouTube and see us on Spotify.
I know what I meant. See us on YouTube, listen on Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast at the Worst Ones Podcast. Make sure when you go, you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks to our 500 million followers. We appreciate you.
And your personal page. Princess Kels 51, everybody, all the single men out there, hit her up at Princess Kels 51.
It's blocked. I
She
mean,
don't even want a church nigga. She want a thug. Okay.
I can't. It's private, so direct message me and then we can decide.
All right.
She wants Kirk Cameron. That's what
Well, y'all send me a message and I'll send it to Kelly if you're trying to reach her. But you can find me at Melanated Brews for all things coffee, tea, and beer. Per norm, I did not go anywhere this week, but I did go to Dunkin'. And so this week's episode is brought to you by Dunkin'. I had that pumpkin spice signature latte, and it actually was pretty good. I would get it again. So get you your Dunkin' for the week, y'all. And you can follow me at JRihanna _. I'm not private. You can just follow me. But if you do follow me, send me a message so I know that you found out about us from the podcast.
Hey. Pumpkin spice latte. When did you get so basic?
When I went to the Dunkin'. I know. I went from super high to super something else. So.
Go ahead, Terry.
Oh, Terry Wayne Comedy on all social media platforms. I got a new tour coming out. Going to be all over the state and up to Atlanta, hopefully. Yeah, I put that one on there just for you guys. The Wizard of Haas. You can find some promo materials on YouTube. Wizard of Haas with HAS at the end.
All righty.
At
the podcast official page, you know what it is. We record last Monday of every month on Zoom. 815-499-0955. Fuck with us. And of course, for our guests, sir, let them know where they can find you.
Mr. West, is it wild that I was like having to read that? Like, I don't know my tag. At Mr. West _13. Very simple. Yeah, follow me. All the stuff I've been talking about all night, it's all there.
It's all there.
Wait, the underscore is after Mr. or West?
Mr. _West 13.
Okay, gotcha.
Jesus Christ, Kelly. Okay.
He said Mr. West.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything for your basketball league or for the church? Anything y'all got coming up?
If you follow me, definitely look out for what we're doing with basketball. Basketball is about to start back up. We got a whole lot going this season. So it's going to be really dope. We're going to be live broadcasting games and everything. So it's going to be really dope. So that's like the biggest thing right now that I would want to plug. Just like, yo, follow that. You know, we're trying to make that really big in Atlanta. So, yeah.
Lit. Well, Darius, it's been a pleasure, man. Pleasure to meet you. Hopefully, I can meet you in person one day, man. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I'm sorry, I'm tongue twisted. Thank you, Janessa, Kelly, Terry, for coming once again. We're on episode 42, so we're making our way downtown. Other than that, we appreciate all you guys for listening to us, and fucking with our podcast. You feel me? Until next time, we out.
Come on, Darius.
You gotta put up those fingers there.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.